Welcome to the Retzel Health Law Hotspot. Health Law Hotspot is a podcast for physicians and health professionals that covers the legal issues and trends that affect the healthcare industry.
This is Christina Kuta from Retzel and Andrus. Today, I'll be discussing the top 5 tips to help providers manage HIPAA compliance. Although HIPAA has been in effect since 1996, proactive enforcement by the Office of Civil Rights, the agency charged with HIPAA enforcement, has occurred more recently. As a result, providers need to take active steps to make certain they are HIPAA compliant and ready for an unannounced audit. The first tip is to review your written HIPAA policies and procedures. Since its inception, HIPAA has undergone various revisions that have changed the requirements for both covered entities and business associates. If your practice has a set of HIPAA policies and procedures that has not been reviewed and revised in the last few years, now is the time to do so. The next tip is to retrain your workforce. Even the best written policies and procedures are of little value if they are not understood and followed by your employees. Make certain all personnel are trained upon hire and then retrained at least annually. Additional training may be necessary in the event there are changes in the practice's policies and procedures or amendments to HIPAA itself. A third tip is to be familiar with what constitutes a HIPAA breach. HIPAA sets forth a specific 4-factor test to determine whether a breach has occurred. Whether a disclosure of HIPAA-protected information amounts to a breach is critical to determining whether the disclosure needs to be reported. To that end, providers also should be familiar with the process for reporting HIPAA breaches, such as when and how patients, the Office of Civil Rights, and/or the local media market must be notified. A fourth tip is to engage in an annual risk assessment. HIPAA requires providers conduct a risk assessment, which should be done at least annually. The risk assessment should consist of analyzing potential areas of risk where HIPAA-protected information could be disclosed or used not in accordance with HIPAA, as well as how effective the practice's current HIPAA security measures are in securing such information. The risk assessment must be documented and available for review in the event of an audit. The fifth and last tip is to prepare for an audit before it happens. Your practice should not be scrambling to provide information and documents to an auditor. You should know where to find HIPAA policies and procedures, risk assessments, and other pertinent documents. Have an identified staff member, usually the designated HIPAA privacy officer, as the point person for the audit. Make sure your staff understand the process and are ready to answer the auditor's questions. The best way to ensure a smooth audit is to practice internally before the Office of Civil Rights arrives at your door.
Retzel is a full-service law firm with offices in Chicago and throughout Ohio and Florida. Our experienced health law group helps clients navigate the healthcare industry and the wide range of related legal, business, and administrative issues. The Retzel Health Law Hotspot is made available by the firm and its attorneys for educational purposes and to provide general information, not to provide specific legal advice. Use of the Retzel Health Law Hotspot does not create an attorney-client relationship between you and the firm or any of its attorneys. The Retzel Health Law Hotspot should not be used as a substitute for competent legal advice, and you should contact an attorney in your state about any legal needs or questions you may have.